Yes. It's your guy, Dennis Fair. Retired member of the Metropolitan Police Department, serving 29 years. Retiring in 2019. Came on June the 4th of 1990. Hey, as you know, just a little disclaimer. All of these statements are my opinions. I'm not connected to any law enforcement agency. So what you hear is what you get directly from me. Let's go. It's been a minute. Making America great again, Donald Trump. What do you think? Is he making America great again? Or is he causing hell? Well, when it comes to politics, I don't get too deep into it because that's like discussing religion. But in this particular case, you have no choice but to discuss the politics currently with this administration. I mean, some people love what he's doing. Some people don't. Me personally, I don't support Donald Trump as far as overall. I didn't support Harris overall. I don't support Biden overall. When you get to a certain position as far as in presidents, it's no holding the presidents accountable to things they say they're going to do. So it really depends. I don't vote just for the hell of it. If I don't feel like the individual has anything in common with my interests or what I would like to be done, I just see it as being pointless. Local politics, that's something different. I felt like Donald Trump was going to be president before the vote. Anybody that pretty much paid attention to what was going on, Donald Trump was obviously convicted of multiple felonies. As you noticed, a lot of stuff was constantly continued. He never was actually held. The mugshot picture was considered a joke. You know, they got T-shirts with that. It was a joke. Now, if this was anybody else, they wouldn't even got close to being a president. When it comes down to presidency money talks, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, billionaires, multiple billionaires were involved in this election. I personally, people say, "Oh, well, they voted him in." I don't personally know about that. When it comes to things like that, as you notice, weather's changing, allergies kicking in. But the thing about this is Donald Trump, in my opinion, I'm gonna say my opinion, was already picked before the vote. And you know, a lot of times in cases like this, Donald Trump is beneficial to a lot of people. So one thing about it, he's going to be an emotional individual that's going to react emotionally. Now, obviously, if you rub him the wrong way, you might have a job today, you might not have one tomorrow. If he hears that you're talking negative about him, he's going to retaliate. Not necessarily probably going to do the research to see if it was a rumor or something like that. He's very, he's an impulsive type of individual, and he's very emotional. Elon Musk, in my opinion, I'm not sure why he's there. I know they wanted to get rid of a lot of DEI stuff and all that, but how did Elon Musk get there? Basically, what qualifications does he have politically? He's got a lot of money. I get that, but what qualifies him to be in these homemade positions that they made up? Now, I get the whole waste and things like that that are going on as far as within America. That happens in every field. There's waste going on, but you can't wave a magic wand and simply delete half of the Department of Education workers and basically say, look, the rest of y'all gonna carry the weight for everybody. Now there's waste, of course. There are individuals in positions, especially in the DC government. I saw it for myself within the Metropolitan Police Department. They had positions of individuals that basically did nothing. Some of them went to administrative positions when they were injured and they never came back. There were no job titles for these positions, but for some reason they just ended up on the third floor in the administrative section answering phones and going to community events. And you're looking at someone making over 100 grand a year to just go to these events as a police officer, never really on the street fighting any crime or doing any police work. Now, of course, who wouldn't take that? I'm not saying that like the individual was wrong for taking that. If it's an opportunity there and you got an opportunity to do nothing and make the same amount of money versus going out here pushing a police car for 12 hours or 10 hours or whatever the shift is, I get it. But on the same note, you can't get mad when they do decide to pull the rug from under, because there are individuals that were working from home that were doing absolutely nothing. I knew some of them personally that worked from home, and I would, these individuals would be out shopping. They would be all types of places. And I'm like, so what happens if you don't have to? Well, they're not going to, I've done all my stuff for the day, or you're not monitored. People were not being monitored, things like that. But on the same note, each individual case is different. Now, obviously, there's some people that abuse the system, but you just can't delete the whole system. And I'm going to fire these people, and we're going to do this, and we're going to cut half the air traffic controllers. There are repercussions when you start cutting people like that. Now, I get you trying to save money to a certain degree, but you just can't wave a magic wand and just start deleting people and putting tariffs on other countries and things of that. You know, the emotional reactions is just so stupid and juvenile, and it affects everyone as far as price wise. Now, unfortunately, rather, I won't lose a job because I'm already retired. But on the same note, there are individuals that are going to be affected. For example, in law enforcement, if you're talking about DC police, they're going to plan to cut that budget basically damn near in half, and they barely can run now because there's no staffing in the Metropolitan Police Department. No, they're not going to tell you that on the news. You're not going to read it in the paper, but it's basically running on fumes as it is. Now, I get some of the stuff, even a clock is right twice within 24 hours. Some of the stuff, Donald Trump actually did some of the things, well, majority of the things he said he was going to do, he's doing them. So most politicians don't do that. They tell you all types of stuff that they're going to do, and they don't do it. He said he was going to pardon all the people from January 6th. He did that. Now, do I have a problem with? I got a problem with anybody that commits a crime of that severity and basically you erase their sentence and basically let them just run amok again. Some of the individuals have been arrested all over again. Now, my thing about that is it's not so much because they assaulted police. You assault somebody and say it's a loved one of yours, and the next thing you know, a politician comes and basically pardons them. You're gonna feel a certain way. A lot of officers lost their lives that day, not necessarily at that specific time, but overall, some of them had brain situations, injuries, and things like that. One individual, I think, from Capitol Police, was struck in the head with a fire extinguisher. They took that family through a lot of changes because they were trying to say that it did not have anything to do with January 6th or things like that. You know, and a lot of times when you're in a law enforcement field or any field, if you get severely injured or killed, the first thing they're going to do is try to get out of paying out on it if they can, saying that it did not result as a complication from job-related incident per se. It's about saving money, and it's about basically trying to get over. And that's what most insurance companies and life insurance, they're going to look for a loophole. If there's a loophole and they don't have to pay, that's what they're going to do. In the particular case, he also pardoned the Metropolitan Police Department officers that were involved in the Kennedy Street chase. Now, that's a chase that involved a lieutenant that I used to have worked with him when he was an officer on DUI details and things like that, and another officer. They chased an individual on a moped that basically, you know, they were familiar with. From what I understand, he might have been taunting and riding up and down the sidewalk. Obviously, you can't drive a plain car on the sidewalk or a marked police car on the sidewalk. So they chased him. They finally got behind him, and he was coming through an alley, running from the officers, and came into the Kennedy Street main roadway and was struck by a vehicle. He was killed as a result of this. Now, could this have been avoided? Absolutely. It could have been avoided if the individual never ran from the police. Let's start there. So were the police wrong based on what I read? Absolutely. One of them was charged with, I believe, obstructing justice, meaning that from what I read in the Post, they altered the scene. And what I mean by that, means like if somebody has had an accident and you can't turn your body worn camera off and try to get your stories together. Come on now. You can't do that. From what I understand and what I read, that's what they did. They altered the scene, meaning they moved. I believe they might have moved the moped. All this is in the Post and in the paper, so you can't take everything you read as truth. But they were charged. And it's my understanding they did not report this immediately to the superiors after it happened, and I don't believe they notified Major Crash immediately. When you have a fatality or a severe injury involving a individual that could possibly lead to death or severe injury, you are required to notify Major Crash to respond to the scene, or at least, like I said, sometimes they'll make the determination if they're going to come out based on what you tell them the severity of the injuries are. So it's my understanding they didn't do that. And according to the Post, this is stuff I read in the paper, they told the individual that struck the individual, they released him. They let the person go. I think they might have got the information, but they allowed the person to leave. So, I mean, you can see them on the scene of the video telling him to get up and get up, get up. I don't even know if they attempted to provide him with any type of medical assistance. I mean, obviously, you got a situation like that. Once the scene is deemed safe, you are required by law to assist the individual. Even if you have a situation where you shoot an individual, after you shoot him, and if there's a situation that's made safe, you have to administer medical assistance to the individual, meaning if he's bleeding profusely, you got to try to stop that blood. Yeah, I know this individual was just shooting at you, but if you've cleared that weapon away from him and it's deemed safe, you have to administer medical assistance to him to try to save his life. Failure to do so, you could be brought up on charges as well. So, some poor choices, obviously. They were pardoned. I believe one of the, I think the lieutenant, from what I understand, had a stroke, and this probably resulted from stress. I don't know how the officer's doing, but according to the Post, they were reinstated, meaning they are back on the police department. Now, obviously, if that is the case, they're going to have to pay them back pay. So that's going to be some hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're going to be paid. Now, I'm sure they're probably, I think the lieutenant should be eligible for retirement, but I'm not sure how that works as far as full duty or if he's on limited duty, because if he had a stroke, sometimes if you have a stroke, obviously, some people can function normal, but a lot of times it can cripple you and disable you to certain parts of your body. Don't know what his status is, but the case as far as legal now might be in jeopardy because there was a legal case put on both of the officers along with the Metropolitan Police Department. However, once they are cleared and pardoned and being reinstated to the police department, I don't know what kind of weight that legal case is going to have. Now, obviously, a legal case that's civil and not criminal is much easier to prove than a criminal case. So that's the plus side of it. But on the same thing, if they've been pardoned or cleared of any wrongdoing, what kind of case do you really have? Now, a lot of attorneys will take this pro bono because they know the city's going to settle out of court. So I don't know how that's going to affect. But on the other end of that, if you are the victim's parents or loved ones that was riding that moped that obviously succumbed to his injuries, you're going to feel a certain way that these individuals were just released and they were basically the cause of the fatality. And basically, like I said, to a certain degree, both of them were the cause. It's a combination. Obviously, like I said, I'm going to start from the beginning. We're not going to leave anybody out. If the individual had just stopped, he would be alive. Then 9 times out of 10, they would have arrested him. Based on the D.C. court system, he'd have been released again. You know, so like I said, with the whole Trump administration, some things I kind of can't agree with, but as a majority, I think it's causing a lot of division. It's going to create a lot of animosity from other countries. Obviously, you're going to put tariffs on other countries. Guess what? They're going to retaliate. And guess what? The individuals within America are going to pay triple, double, or quadruple prices for things that they normally wouldn't pay for. This isn't going to affect Donald Trump. This is not going to affect Elon Musk or anybody within that administration. They are financially secure, so this is nothing. So I understand that some of the people are for him and support him fully. The migrant situation, I got mixed feelings on that. You have some individuals obviously here that are here illegally, but they are working and what have you. And I got mixed feelings on that as well. If you just allow everybody to come, that's going to strain the system. What about the people here that need resources already? How can you give individuals from other countries resources and you got people here that are trying to get resources and been waiting for years and can't get them? I got a problem with that. I got a problem with anybody that comes to this country and you are a criminal. You commit a crime, no 2 or 3 chances. If you commit a crime here and you are here illegally, you should be deported. Point blank. I don't know what else to say. It's just common sense. You can't go to some of these other countries and run them up. Try going to Jamaica and running them up. The police are totally different over there. They're not watered down. They are not watered down in some of these other countries. Some of the things that they do in other countries, law enforcement will blow your mind. But here, it's passive. So to a certain degree, some of the things I can kind of relate to, like he's going to clean house from what I understand. New U.S. attorney, basically, this attorney is going to go a little harder. I mean, everybody knew at least when I was working, the U.S. Attorney's Office was a joke. A lot of times, they would break cases down, and obviously based on a win win case probability if it's going to trial. But sometimes the case, you got a full felony and you break it down to a misdemeanor. You got a burglary that's broken down to taking property without. It's some of the things they have broken cases down to get a person to basically take a plea. A personal plea to taking property without right versus a burglary one. It's just some of the things they've done is just beyond imagination. So I can understand cleaning the house as far as that. Some of the other things he's doing, Donald Trump wants to get rid of the Black Lives Matter Muriel. I'm with that to a certain degree. I understand fully, and I'll tell you why. The Black Lives Matter organization is fraudulent. It's a great slogan, Black Lives Matter, but when did Black Lives ever matter in America? I know some people are going to be like, I can't believe you said that. Well, if you can prove me right or wrong, I can prove myself right. But if you can prove me wrong and show me where Black lives have actually mattered in America, okay, show me. I got time. But on the same note, first of all, it's a fraudulent organization. A totally fraudulent organization. Look it up. Do the research. That, for one, I have a problem with. Number two, I have a problem with the whole philosophy because it wasn't done to really cite with George Floyd and the end of that. They said that Muriel Bowser did that because she wanted to antagonize Donald Trump when he said that she was a poor manager and she basically is always begging for revenue. Again, I am no full supporter of Donald Trump, but I can sit down and if you are right and you say something that I can agree with, because I don't support you as your administration wise, I can agree that that's right. Muriel Bowser, everybody knows it is on revenue hard. Muriel Bowser did that to antagonize Donald Trump. Now, the whole Black Lives Matter. Imagine going to Georgia and you seeing a sign or Muriel painted White Lives Matter. Or going to somewhere else and seeing something else, these lives matter. It can be taken offensive to another culture. Obviously some people will say, well, let's paint all lives matter. When have all lives actually mattered? I got time. When have all lives actually mattered? That's a cute slogan as well, but we both know all lives have never mattered either. This is America. So let's not sugarcoat it. Another thing with the Black Lives Matter, like I said, it's offensive to other cultures to see that sometimes because they don't know what to take or understand, well, Black Lives Matter, what does this mean? You know what I'm saying? So in my particular opinion, when you're dealing with tourists, it should be nothing like that. It should be neutral. Now, if obviously you got different types of memorials and things like that, that's something different. But to paint that and know that that's a fraudulent organization, to know why it was actually put there to basically just antagonize Donald Trump, come on now. I'm not with it. So them painting over it, I have no problem with that. What else? Donald Trump, not Donald Trump, I think a governor just pardoned the law enforcement officer from Fairfax Police Department that was originally cleared of all wrongdoing, and then they put it back in the grand jury and he was charged, I believe, maybe discharging a firearm. They basically broke it down. He wasn't charged with murder because he actually committed murder. And I know a lot of people probably in the back are like, man, you a police officer, you're not going to side with your fellow law enforcement? Nah, I'm not going to do that because, like I said, wrong is wrong, right is right. I'm entitled to my opinion. The Fairfax County police officer that pursued by foot the individual that stole the sunshades from Tyson's Mall and, of course, allegedly he reached in his waistband. How many times have you heard that BS? He reached in his waistband, so you shot him. He reached in his waistband. What did you see? Did you see him pull a handgun out? Did you see the butt of a gun? You didn't see anything. You said he reached in his waistband. You pursued this individual by yourself. And from what I understand, I think it was at nighttime. Why didn't you wait for backup? Why didn't you call K9? Could this have been avoided? Yes. Basically, in this particular case, there are some situations where shootings occur like this and they are justified. However, in this particular case, I don't buy it. I don't believe the officers saw him reaching his waistband. This is just me. And a lot of people might say, okay, but you wasn't there and you basically make it. Well, I've been in a lot of situations. And I don't have to tell you that police have a habit of lying. And basically, Humans lie. Now, obviously, if you're in a situation like that and you're scared out of your mind, which if you're really that fearful, you probably chose the wrong occupation. But you had an option to not pursue this individual by yourself over property. You pursued him over property. He hadn't shot anybody or caused any harm, from my understanding, and to the storekeeper. He didn't beat anybody. He's fleeing. How far is he really going to get if you set up a perimeter and just get the dog? He's going to come out either on his own or the dog is going to bring him out. But you don't shoot him over some sunglasses. Now, this particular Fairfax County officer, and I might lose some supporters or whatever, but again, I don't do these channels for money. There's not no money in it for me. I just do it just to do it, to try to give some input and some information. The individual committed murder. Murder. I wouldn't say he committed first-degree murder because obviously he had no intentions on killing him, but that's involuntary manslaughter at the most. You didn't have to put yourself in a position to use that firearm if you had just simply waited for backup, gave the last known direction of travel, the description, and that's it. But no, you went into the wooded area and you shot him, and the individual screamed. Now, from what I understand, he screamed, I'm shot, I don't have anything, help me, save me. I don't even know if this particular officer provided medical assistance. The individual succumbed to his injuries. The bottom line is, I believe there was a legal case and the parents or family members will get money, but what good is that money if your loved one is gone? You know what I'm saying? Imagine and put yourself in a situation if that was your child. Now, of course, it could have been avoided if the individual had never stolen sunglasses from the start. But on the same note, imagine your child getting killed over a pair of sunglasses that reality is you could have paid for versus him stealing them. But on the same note, the officer, if the officer had did what he was, or he, and this was a he situation, so I won't say he or she, but I could use he or she because it could happen to a female officer as well. You are not trained to pursue a suspect by yourself into an area that you are not familiar with. Obviously, if the individual gets tired and decides to fight, you have no backup. And believe me, in a situation like that, when you've been chasing someone, there's not going to be a whole lot of gas in the tank when you catch the individual, you got to fight. You don't know what type of drugs they on, you don't know what type of strength they on, or what have you. So again, in my opinion, the officer committed murder. Now, obviously, not first-degree murder, but the officer is responsible for that individual's death. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to side with the officer because he was a fellow law enforcement officer. I don't get down like that. Again, Donald Trump is going to basically turn the light green for a lot of law enforcement officers because he's already proposed a bill, from what I understand, that would propose the death penalty for anyone that kills a police officer. Now, do I have a problem with that? Yes, in a sense I do, because in my opinion, I support the death penalty in situations that are warranted, not just for killing a police officer. If you kill an individual unwarranted, like some of these young people are out here killing over stupid stuff or rap beefs or my neighborhood or something like that, yeah, I don't buy into that. I believe an eye for an eye. A lot of these individuals are very young, so they are held in the system to 21. So once they're 21, they're free to go on and get a whole new start at life. Whereas your loved one, basically, it's never going to be seen again. So I got a problem with that. That's somewhat biased. You're going to initiate a death penalty if somebody kills a police officer, but what about a regular citizen that's killed? What about the individuals that, like the juvenile girls that stomped a man to death that was a cancer survivor, pulled his pants down, beat him with his belt, and he died? Now imagine if that's your loved one who has survived cancer, got a plate in his head, had some types of situations, I guess he would walk at night in pain and things like that. These young girls decided to basically turn into mutts, animals, and basically jump on this man and beat him and try to put it on somebody else. But these individuals are going to be released once they turn 21. Hey, I don't feel like that should happen. I know that's kind of harsh saying that. Or what if it was your daughter? If it was my daughter, I would be hurt as well. But on the same note, I had to deal with reality. My daughter put herself in that position. I raised my daughter differently. We all know that the things that you tell your children they don't always comply with. So unfortunately, if my daughter was to go left instead of right, I would be hurt, but I have to deal with the circumstances. Now I can't get upset if she's severely punished for taking an individual's life. I would be hurt for both parties, especially my daughter. But on the same note, I have to accept the fact that my daughter did something extremely irresponsible, and as a response to her irresponsibility, someone lost their life. So I can't play both sides and be like, well, wait a minute, that's my daughter. I don't want her to have a death penalty. I don't want her to spend the rest of her life in jail. If that was the case, it's nothing I can do, so be it. Would I still visit her? I would try to visit her, when time was warranted and I could. But I would not be objecting necessarily to free her or anything like that, because the bottom line is she put herself in that position. I would be more upset if I had never talked to her. I was never in her life. But I've been in my daughter's life and still in my daughter's life. Should she choose to do something that foolish, she's got to take the accountability of that. The officers today with this administration are going to have free will to do a lot of things that they normally would not do. I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump just got rid of the body-worn camera whole program. These are impulsive, emotional things that he does. That's the problem. One of the problems I do have overall, he's emotional. So, again, if you impose tariffs on other countries, those other countries are not going to just turn the other cheek. There's some countries out here that's just as tough as the United States. They don't have necessarily the resources, but they're not suckers. You can't just bully them. So you impose tariffs on them, guess what? They're going to impose tariffs on these goods, and next thing you know, you're going to pay a triple price for avocados or bananas or things like that. If you cause this type of division amongst countries, the citizens are going to be the ones affected, not Donald Trump or Elon Musk. And, I know they want to get rid of a lot of the DEI and all these types of things where, for discrimination and things. They want to erase all that. But my thing is, how did Elon Musk get to where he is again? Because I don't know about any qualifications or what type of brilliant background does he have in politics other than money. Money doesn't count. I mean, as far as it's what, according to them, that's not supposed to. You're supposed to be qualified. The firmest thing is we're not going to hire. We don't want anyone hired because of race or simply because they're a female or this or that. Why was Elon Musk placed in the position he's in? Simply because he contributed to the Trump administration, the political party, his donations and things like that. We already know Bill Gates and all of them put a lot of money together to see that this happens. As far as Donald Trump being president, he's going to take care of a lot of people, and that's what they all do once they get in a position, depending on what you contributed and who you are. However, I personally feel, and I may offend some people when I say this, Elon Musk has a learning disability. Some form of imbalance is there. I don't know if you've ever watched him, and this is no slur to people that have learning disorders or they have forms of handicaps and things like that. The thing is with that, there are people that function every day with handicaps or any types of disabilities or disorders like it's nothing. And sometimes you wouldn't even notice it. However, I would not want an individual flying a plane with a learning disorder or running the country or in the position that Elon Musk is with some form of disorder. Now, if you ever have an opportunity, watch Elon Musk and some of the things he says. Watch some of his movements as far as the irrational behavior and things of that nature. Like I said, that's a problem. And Donald Trump is very emotional. From what I understand, he bought two Teslas in the White House White House grounds. And Elon Musk, from what I understand, his Tesla sales have dropped. So I think they're basically trying to scratch each other's backs. And you look out for me, I'm going to look out for you. And let's bring two Teslas up here, see if we can get this thing going back up again. This is foolishness. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, some things I can kind of side with him on as far as cleaning the house. There's mismanaging every field. I mean, we don't have to go back in the day when they did an audit years ago, Department of Defense. I mean, they were charging like $100 a screw. For some contractors were charging that, and $700 toilets, things like that. That's a hustle. But that's been going on for years. You can't simply just wave a magic wand and delete the Department of Education half of their staff and fire them, or send them some type of random email saying that we want to know what you did this week, and if you don't respond, you're fired. This is not a reality show, and that's the way they're treating it as a reality show. You got a lot of people that are being forced into unemployment simply because I don't like this individual, or I want a clean house. Now, obviously, if this individual has not been performing at their occupation or doing what they're expected to be doing, I get that. But some of the just mass terminations, you're going to eventually have people in a situation where somebody's going to go postal. And I don't have to tell you, Donald Trump's life has been tried, twice. Obviously the first one was not successful, became very close. Secret Service failed miserably. If you watch the video, I went into that on my last video. The other individual they caught in the woods with weapons and things of that nature. It's funny how they don't really discuss what happened to these individuals. They don't really go into it. They don't even discuss that the individual that got killed in the first Donald Trump situation, the assassination attempt. They don't even talk about that. And just like even with the situation with the plane crashing, the helicopter crashing into a plane. Why was the helicopter flying that low? And the Black Hawk, I think that's what they were in, is a very, very, very advanced helicopter that can detect mostly anything. So again, that's a lot of stuff that they have not explained what actually happened. Now, the other day, they gave some types of awards and acknowledgments of the first responders that did the recovery of the bodies. Yeah, I kind of get that, but there are people that lost family members. I just don't feel this is time to be giving out awards and things of that nature. These individuals that recovered these bodies signed up for this. You know what I'm saying? It's always great to get an accommodation or somebody say, hey, you did a great job. But, man, there are people that have lost loved ones. Little kids died on this plane, and not to mention the pilots of the Black or whatever. This ain't the time for accommodations, man. Just let that be. I mean, my thing is, I get it, but these people signed up. These people weren't volunteers. These people were, that is what they got paid to do. So, let's give some, let's try to do something for these families, or if anything. I mean, the first responders, yeah, it's traumatic when you got to go down there and dive and pull dead bodies out of cold water and all that. But guess what? They signed up for that. They signed up for that. So I don't, I'm not really feeling that one. But also, what else did he? It's so much going on with this administration. There's some other things. Obviously, he wanted to gut the U.S. Attorney's Office, which I got no problem with that because, like I said before, I just felt when I was there, the U.S. Attorney's Office was a joke. I mean, most individuals will tell you all the time, even the criminals, they'd rather get locked up in D.C. than Maryland, Virginia. Everybody knows D.C. is very tolerable when it comes down to crime. Most cases are broken down. So you got a revolving door. You can commit as many crimes as you want. And some of the individuals, before they actually get some time, have over 30 to 40 charges, 30 to 40 arrests. So, I mean, they always say, well, maybe the officer's arrest wasn't that good, or the paperwork, the officers, 30 times. You can't tell me 30 officers poorly prepared narratives and testimony. That's just not how it works. The system is a joke. So I welcome a U.S. attorney that's going to actually be accountable and hold these attorneys accountable. Because like I said, when it comes down to cutting things, I can kind of understand to some degree, because you got some attorneys that's basically just there. That's all they are, is there. They do absolutely nothing. They're there. So I can kind of understand that. But the emotional things, and like I said, when it comes down to reacting emotionally and doing all types of foolish things off of emotion, you're going to fire this person, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Obviously, like I said, the latest thing with the Black Lives Matter, Muriel Bowser actually did to antagonize Donald Trump when I think he called her a poor manager and always begging for revenue. Hey, on that particular situation, where's the lie? Because like I said, I'm no Donald Trump supporter, but I can agree with anybody, in my opinion, if you're right. In that particular case, I couldn't agree with him more. Muriel Bowser's on revenue hard. Yeah, everybody knows the mayor goes hard for money. And that was not painted simply to side with George Floyd or any of the things like that. Because the bottom line, and this may offend some people, when did Black Lives really matter? I got time. The Jeopardy music should be playing right now. They have never mattered. And this is a part of being in America. That's just how it is. Now, is it right? Absolutely not. But let's not get on some false narrative and use this basically to antagonize. This had nothing to do with George Floyd. And the bottom line is you plant that right in the heart of a tourist attraction. Now, my thing is, what happens when other tourists of other ethnicities see this? Well, hey, Indian lives don't matter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people come from all sides, and I get what the concept was supposed to be, but we all know what Black Lives Matter organization is, a fraudulent organization. It's a joke. And I can confirm it's a joke. When my wife's son was killed, he's not my biological son, although I treated him like he was. My wife reached out to Black Lives Matter in reference to trying to find resources and just trying to find. I mean, she thought that they might, with all the stuff she was seeing on TV, that they might, provide some form of emotional. Guess what? Black Lives Matter, I'm still waiting for them to respond. They never responded to my wife. Never. So I guess, like I said, Black lives really don't matter to this organization, and they never have. That was about money. And I mean, the NFL, NBA, I mean, you got the whole end racism and all that stuff in the fields and all that, putting on the helmets, but that's all political gimmicks. That's a joke. That's a whole joke. So I'm with pulling that Black Lives Matter up. I mean, like I said before, a lot of people probably went up and like, I can't believe you said that you black. Yeah, I'm black, but I'm a realist. And the bottom line is that wasn't about Black lives. It ain't had nothing to do with Black lives. That, first of all, is the organization. It's a fraudulent organization. It was a whole joke. And again, how do you place that in a tourist area when you have all types of ethnicities that come to this city? And again, I'll say it again, and I know some people probably be offended, but sometimes the truth can be hard to digest. Sometimes people got lactose intolerant or whatever. Some people have truth intolerance. So I'll say it again, and I'm probably going to offend some people. When have Black lives ever mattered in America? That's just the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? That's just factual. Now, does that stop you from living? Does that stop you from being productive in life? It shouldn't. Absolutely not. I'm just saying it for what it actually is out here in America. But again, we all know what Muriel Bowser is about. We all know that was a gimmick. That was to taunt Donald Trump. Now, he's in the position where he ain't going for nothing. So, of course, there was no back talk when he told her, look, that's going, get rid of that. And she said, well, we were going to get rid of it anyway. No, you weren't. That's another lie. She wasn't going to do any of that if he hadn't basically told her to get rid of it. Now, also, get rid of these homeless individuals, too. I don't like looking at that. She didn't waste any time getting all them city resources to go down there, Department of Public Works, and take all these individuals' things and put them in the trash. Now, personally, you got resources that a lot of times weren't given to these individuals. Of course, you had individuals from other countries, migrants, what have you, that were able to get resources from other countries, but you have individuals in your own country that are intense and don't get the resources. So I do have a problem with migrants coming into this country legally and taking up the resource. Of course, anyone would want to better their situation. But on the same note, you got individuals already here that can't get the resources, and they're right here. So how do you give somebody from another country basically ahead of the line than people that are already here? Now, a lot of these individuals, when you take their stuff, their mental cases with them, this is all they have sometimes. You take their tents and things like that and you put off. Sometimes this is the only thing. It may not be valuable to you or me, but that cart full of all this stuff that we think is junk is their livelihood. That's all they have left. So you take all this stuff and you throw it in the trash, and then obviously that's going to create animosity from the individuals and the Department of Public Works. They're going to call the police, and then the police going to have to get involved. It's going to get ugly. So My thing again, it is what it is, but there are more things to be concerned with, like the safety of the citizens, the crime. Why not take that same energy and and give this city some real power as far as law enforcement, where they actually not go out here and do stupid things like shoot people over sunglasses and things like that, but actually go out here and police. Some of these youngins just running them up, tighten them up. Tighten them up. Now, I'm not into the whole putting your knee on the neck while they handcuffed and all that, but go in there and do what you got to do and take this city back. Because I don't have to tell you, this city is going to be a problem if they don't tighten things up. Now, this U.S. attorney, based on Donald Trump putting him in place, supposed to be some new administrations coming, and a lot of U.S. attorneys, from what I understand, they got rid of. So we shall see what happens. My main thing is, like I said, I just wanted to give an update. You know what I'm saying? Of course, like I said, people probably thought that I'm a Trump supporter when they see the title, Donald Trump making America great again. You know what I'm saying, or what have you. But by no means am I a Donald Trump supporter. I'm not a supporter of Harris or Biden or any of that. Like I said, once you get to that type of political status, a lot of that stuff doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect the average person in a certain tax. I'm not that high up the food chain where I can actually reap some real benefits. Unlike Donald Trump, I can't pay $600 and be done with my taxes and stuff like that. I have to do a lot more than that. And like I said to me, it's all about how you handle and play in the system. He knows the game to a certain degree, and the part that he doesn't know, he's given the benefit of the doubt because he's Donald Trump. So I don't hate him because of who he is or what his money from his father has gotten him to be. The bottom line is, I have a problem with any male or female that's in a position that's emotional, because emotion leads to foolish decisions. A lot of these youngers out here that commit some of these murders, if you could actually talk to some of the detectives and find out what this murder was caused of, he started talking crazy on the internet about me and saying my crew was they were goofy. So wait, let me understand this. He was on Instagram talking about your neighborhood, so your retaliation, you killed him? I mean, make this make sense. A 5 to 10-second decision to pull that trigger got you 45 years. Do the math. Somehow that's not an even exchange for me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these young guys got some serious problems. I'm going to get into that as well. I got some more stuff coming. Like I said, I've been just kind of laying back and just watching this administration. It's not funny. I find it very funny, and sometimes it's kind of like comedy to me, because in my opinion, it's just my opinion, and don't send Secret Service after me, because I'm going to say this and I'm going to get ready to wrap it up. I do not believe Donald Trump will make 4 years. Yep, that's right, I said it. Now, I'm not saying this as a threat or something is going to happen to him. I don't know what's going to transpire, but I did not see Donald Trump administration going 4 years. I don't know whether something will happen as far as some person will go postal and try to do harm to him. I don't know if the CIA will get involved. I don't know if just eventually he'll just run amok to the point where they basically impeach him. But I just don't see him making 4 years. And remember, I said it, because if he doesn't make the 4 years, I'm going to be the first one to come back on here and do a video and say it's going to be entitled "I Told You So." You know what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion. And again, I'm not making any threats or anything like that, regardless of whether or not I do not support him or not. I don't want to see any harm come to him. But to watch him and Elon Musk, it's like sometimes some of the things they say, it's like Dumb and Dumber. I mean, it's like this dude is a convicted felon. He is running the country. So maybe they need to take that off applications. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? That shouldn't even matter no more. You know what I'm saying? But in my opinion, like I said, money talks. Donald Trump, in my opinion, was already the president before he was picked. I don't believe the vote would have mattered regardless. Of course, they say he won the vote. But in reality, how do you really know? I mean, I can tell you anything. I can tell you that he won, but you got no way to actually prove that. All you can do is go by what I said, and that's pretty much what happened. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and the rest of the billionaires pooled their money together and resources and made it happen. Of course, they will benefit from him being president. Now, after this is all over, all types of confidential and top secret information is going to be compromised. Elon Musk is basically treating the White House like a playground or Chuck E. Cheese's. You know what I'm saying? So it's a madhouse. My thing is, if you got senior citizens in your family or loved ones that are on Medicaid and Social Security, a lot of this is taking its toll on them because they watch the news. You know, I don't know, most older people a lot of times, senior citizens, watch the news, and a lot of times in their mind what they see on the news is gospel. So if you do have loved ones, constantly check on them, reinsure them, support them. If my mother was living, she would be concerned, of course, about her Social Security and her checks and things like that. Because, like I said, when you make these types of threats and you start seeing people losing their jobs, it takes its toll on your mentally, especially if you're in the federal government. There was a time in the federal government, if you were in the federal government, you safe. Not today. It's totally the opposite. You're in the federal government, you might be gone tomorrow. Now, you might be reinstated next week, but who has the mind frame to go through that? You got mortgages, you got bills and things of that nature. Who wants to walk on eggshells, not knowing if you're going to have a job today or tomorrow, and you might have been in a position for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? You're getting close to retirement. Or who wants to be forced to retire, and take less of a pension? So it's some stuff that's really affecting a lot of people. I got a problem, like I said, when you cause division. I mean, most presidents lie anyway. They don't do half the stuff they say they're going to do. They do what they say what they're going to do to get elected, and that's the end of it. I mean, that's politics. I know that much, but the thing is, when you are affecting individuals' mentalities and their mental health simply by threatening them and holding them basically to a eggshell walk where they don't know what to do, they don't know if they're going to have a job tomorrow, that's a problem. You're creating nothing but division between other countries and us and the citizens here. And a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump are regretting it now. One thing about him, he did do what he said he was going to do. Now, that is unheard of when it comes to politicians. So you can't take that away from him. He said he was going to pardon everyone January 6th. Yeah, I know they assaulted police officers. They did all types of stupid stuff. He pardoned them. But on the same note, he pardoned the police officers as well. So my thing is, it is what it is. Don't let it bring you down. I don't see it going 4 years. My thing is, if you got some loved ones that's really stressing out behind this, check on them, because the last thing you want is a loved one having a stroke or heart attack behind some unnecessary stress. You know what I'm saying? Certain things you unfortunately cannot concern yourself with what you can't control. And I'm gone. Like I said, it's been a minute, but I just been watching the circus. And like I said, I don't have to tell you, it's two clowns. Well, it's multiple clowns in the circus. It's kind of like watching clowns get out of the little Volkswagen and you just be totally amazed what are they going to do next? You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what's going on. The White House is a circus and it's full of clowns. So pay attention. Watch your surroundings. The weather's getting ready to break. You already know what time it is in these streets when that weather breaks. But like I said, maybe Donald Trump will stand on it and put some things back into place in the city as far as crime and clean this place up. Like I said, you got individuals that are homeless that you just got tired of looking at. I mean, come on now. I mean, that to me, I get that. Offer these individuals some resources before you just dig this stuff up and put it in the trash. Come on. And then what happens when you do all that and they go right back to under the K Street Bridge or that whole corridor by the Kennedy Center? You know what I'm saying? Homeless have been there forever. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm gone. Hey, leave a comment, like, share. I'm not doing this for money. Obviously, like I said, if I was doing this for money, I would be broke. This is just something I do for pastime. I'm going to try to be a little more active. But I'm going to be honest with you. I've just been watching the circus, and it has been truly amusing. No, it's not amusing for everybody because some people are facing hardships because they don't know if they're going to have a job. Some people have actually been terminated, and a lot of them have been reinstated. But who wants to play that game? You know what I'm saying? And it's going to affect a lot of people. And based on, like I said, what's coming, the Metropolitan Police Department, if this goes through, they're going to take a serious hit. So it is what it is. Be safe out there. I'm gone.